what no one tells you, not your realtor, not your friends, not your family, about the downsizing process.
And I'm like, I can't hear.
Oh my gosh, guys, this is going to be so much fun. Jeremy Larkin here with the Larkin Group in the Real Estate Morning Drive. I've got my business partner,
Jesse Poll.
I always let him introduce himself. I love it. And guys, we're going to talk about today the downsizing process. And if you're someone who is empty nesting, downsizing, and you're asking, what am I up against, right? We're going to walk you through the truth around downsizing today and what you actually need to understand. And this is from real world research. This is from selling. We've probably helped 100 families downsize, empty nesters downsize. Downsizing defined as anything from moving to a simpler home to maybe moving to assisted care.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, the last 5 transactions I've closed, 5 in a row. 5 in a row. Now, not the most two recent that I have under contract.
Now,
5 in a row. I had 5 in a row that were working with downsizers.
I just had 3
that
moved to assisted living.
Yeah. So, we want to talk about this, guys. We're in a market. I want to talk to you about something, okay? And this is going to kind of blow your mind today, guys, here on the Real Estate Morning Drive. The Census Bureau estimates that there are 76.4 million baby boomers in the United States.
Wow.
It's the second largest group in the U.S. after millennials, right? In 2022, 43% of baby boomers were under 65 years old. By 2030, all of them will be 65 or older. There's a massive population of folks who are going to need to downsize. And some of them, it's interesting. We see people downsize from their 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 4,400 square foot home that they raise their kids in to downsize and then downsize again. I had lunch. You know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
Yeah.
Where they thought they were downsized. I had this phenomenal lunch last week. So I went out with my friends, Ken and Connie. They're so amazing.
I love those two.
Aren't they so great? We sold their home and we moved them. Well, here's what happened. They retired and then they moved into, drumroll please, an RV. And for years, they traveled in an RV. And when they were done with the RV, so they did the ultimate downsize. They moved to like 100 square feet.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Then they upsized, meaning they moved to what would have been their downsized home, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,220 square foot home. And they thought they were done. But what happened is one day there was a medical scare.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that one moment. And if you're a downsizer, if you're an empty nester, I'm going to ask you a question as we go through the show today, Jesse. When was that moment where you said, this just doesn't work anymore? What was that moment, whether it was a scary moment, a medical scare, whether it was like, if I have to walk up these damn stairs or clean this bleepity bleeping big home again, I won't do it. What was that moment? They had that moment. He had a medical scare. And it was so fascinating because they shared something. Connie said, and this really stuck with me. I actually took notes in this conversation. Downsizing isn't just about finding a smaller home. It's about navigating decades of memories and inherited treasures. Connie said, every item told a story, some from my parents, others from Ken's side of the family. It wasn't just about what fit in the new space. It was deciding which pieces would carry the stories forward. Whoa.
You know what they did really well is they took their time and really made sure what they were doing.
Yeah.
I had another couple that were rushed.
Ooh, tell me about this.
They were rushed. And because the kids can only be here a certain time, and they, within a 4-day period, were just swooped off, taken to assisted living, and
good grief,
only took what they could take. And now looking back, there's a lot of regrets of stuff. And it's not just the stuff, it's the memories.
This is so incredible because, by the way, guys, I've never heard this story. Jesse and I work together daily, right? But we have our own clients underneath the Larkin Group umbrella. Ken said something to me. He said, do not wait. I said, do you have any advices for other empty nesters, downsizers? He said, do not wait for a crisis. Paraphrase.
Yeah, see, that's what happened. There was a crisis and they had to move because of health stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to help them, you know, collect whatever we can get back to salvage some of their memories.
This is incredible. Again, what did Connie say? It's not just about finding a smaller home. It's navigating memories, decades of memories and inherited treasures. Ken had said, we thought we were ready. Our home was already small, but the emotional weight of sorting through all those memories was heavier than we expected.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, Jesse, these are the top 10 concerns faced by empty nesters. And this is from research we did. Number one is emotional attachment to the family home. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, like
especially if it's a home that you raise children in. So much attachment.
Number two is fear of losing family connections. And this was if you a lot of empty nesters, we've actually seen empty nesters move laterally to another big home.
So they have room for the kids.
You got it, dude.
We're looking at that right now. Our house, if all 4 kids come with their families, our house isn't big enough.
Yeah.
And so we are literally facing that right now. That and, you know, going up the stairs to our bedroom because we have a 1922 home and we have our master suite upstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm in the best shape of my life, but
Twisted steel sex appeal.
Sometimes my knees don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Okay. That's you're in it.
Yes.
Okay. Number 3.
In both areas, right?
Yeah, in both areas. Number 3 was being overwhelmed by the downsizing process. Well, this whole thing of deconstructing 30 to 50 years of your life, all of the stuff, all of the belongings. In my nightstand, I'll keep like cards or things that my kids wrote to me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with these? Right? Being overwhelmed by the downsizing process. Before we get off the show, guys, I'm going to talk to you about something that is actually a guide that I built to help walk you through the entire downsizing process. And I want you to stay with us today because I'm going to tell you a little bit about it later. It's free. There is no you don't purchase this. And it walks you through some of this overwhelm. Number 4, Jesse. These are the top 10 concerns faced by empty nesters.
Uncertainty about finding the right new home.
Yeah, like, do I go? How small do I go? And which area do I go? And do I go to an assisted care facility? And then there are like 20 of those around this area. And should I live? I was chatting with one gal, Donna, one of our kind of sort of clients right now on Friday. And she said, I have multiple kids vying for me to move near her. Oh. Kids in Cedar, kids in Washington State, and somewhere else. Finding the uncertainty around finding the right new home is hard. Number 5, anxiety around managing the home selling process. Yep. You know, look, when you're 55, 60, 65, 75, some of our clients 90 years old, you ain't got the same energy. And you're like, I got to pick stuff up and have people come and go. And then what do we do with Fido during the showings? Years ago, I got a phone call. Jesse knows this story. The most incredible woman. And she's moved to Colorado. Her name is Grace. And Grace called me. She was 91. As a matter of fact, you know what? I wonder if she has passed away. That was 6 years ago. 7 years ago, I bet she did. She was 91. I will bet she's passed. I don't know. She's pretty sharp. 91 years old. She calls me and says, I heard your radio ad. You're the guy we want to sell our home. But I live here with my adult daughter. Her adult daughter was 70. You know what I mean? 68 or something. It was like, maybe she was 70 years old. That's different. That's kind of like elderly and then really elderly. We want to sell the home, but we don't know what to do with our 3 cats for showings. Well, I really solved their problem because what did I do at that house, Jesse?
I don't remember what you did.
I bought it and moved into it.
Oh, okay. That's the one you bought on 200.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not planning to buy your home, so chill out. But they didn't know what to do with their cats.
Yeah.
And I went in and I said, why don't we just get an appraisal, a third-party appraisal on the home, and I'll buy it. And I did. And that was my home. And I sold it in June for $30,000 over the asking price with 8 offers. Clearly our system works, right? But anxiety over managing the home selling process. What about number 6, Jesse? Read that for us.
Number 6, financial concerns. That's a big one.
What if I run out of money? What if I move to like Ovation or one of these great places? And what if there's not enough money?
Yeah.
Number 7, adjusting to a new community or lifestyle. When I went to lunch with Ken and Connie, it was so funny. They were in an assisted care facility. And where they're at, there are actually 2 wings. One wing is like retirement. The other wing is true assisted healthcare. And what's cool is if you get to the point where you have a health scare that you can't navigate anymore, you just move literally across the plaza to the other building. Yeah. But while we were sitting at lunch, they must have said, hey, and like real funny, cool, kind of old guy, hilarious humor. You know the shtick. Hey, what are you guys doing today? With like 5 people that walked by. Mm-hmm. And they said, we have created a new community here. And it's been really appealing. And the funny thing about them is they said, surprisingly, we've never looked back since we left our house.
Yeah.
Number 8, give it to us, Jesse.
Loss of familiar routines and comfort.
Yeah, I want to talk about this one.
Like what do we do every day?
I've been coming and going from Lehi, Utah, and spending some more time up there. And we're starting to do some business in Northern Utah. And at first it seemed like this really cute, like, cool, I'll just get up and go. Do you know what? It's very different to run up for a weekend because you went to a concert or a game than to actually move or partially move or figure out how you can consistently do something.
Yeah.
Guys, you don't realize how familiar your routines are, right? Number 9, safety and accessibility needs. And number 10, balancing family expectations and personal needs.
That's a big one for people that have adult children because each one of the adult children think that they should have the right advice. They all have different advice. Let's
talk about 2 scenarios. Anne came along, and I'm protecting last names, and so this client I just talked about, they're sharp. I mean, they're like fully engaged in the process. I met with another gal, Anne, and her 2 adult daughters. Mm-hmm. I worked with her 4 adult children. These children are 40 to 60 years old.
Yeah.
Strewn all over the West Coast. But I met with she and her 2 adult daughters. It was the only time I saw her in the entire process. And she was moving out of her home in Washington, and it needed a lot of work. It was absolutely original to the early 90s when she moved in, right? And once they pulled everything out, you found out that, well, first of all, I had forest green carpet, and that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
But I only met with her once. She was having a hard time with her health, and I never saw her. When I say I didn't see her again, she's moving along great, but she was struggling enough with her capability that her adult children took the entire process over. Mm-hmm. So here we have a living empty nester downsizer, but adult kids are handling everything. Yeah. In another scenario, my friend Jim that I went to high school with, a year younger than me, class of 94, I was class of 93, called me and he says, we got the old family home on Don Lee Drive. We need to sell it. And in the interaction, I found out it's he and 4 siblings, 5 siblings, mom and dad have passed. So what's the biggest argument typically when you get 5 siblings involved, Jesse?
They all have a different opinion on price or what needs to happen or who to hire, or everybody has a different
What are we going to do
opinion
with all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's a lot. 5 is a lot because when you get more than 2, it just becomes noise.
Yeah. Well,
for all of them.
I'm going to tell you the greatest compliment that I got. So when I went to lunch with Ken and Connie, Ken said to me, I said, Ken, what was the number 1 reason you chose to work with us? Jeremy, is this turning into a commercial? At this moment is absolutely a commercial. He said, the second you left our house, we knew exactly what the direction was. And what happened is the facility they moved to works with the relocation company. The relocation company invites them to interview several agents. The next day, another agent came out, and they said that this agent, I'm going to be so neutral, I won't even say guy or gal. This agent had a phone and they were taking notes in their phone, not in a notepad, which it's really hard to stay present taking notes in a phone. And they said, this person was there for 30 minutes. You spent an hour and a half with us asking everything about our move, getting to know us, playing with the dog, because I never saw a dog I didn't really love.
Yeah.
I even love the dogs that bark at me and want to be angry. I just obviously can't touch them. They said this person spent 30 minutes in our home, and when they left, we were no more clear than when we started, and maybe we were less clear. People want a direction. This is why we built what is called the Legacy Living Blueprint. And the Legacy Living Blueprint, guys, is actually a model. It is a model to help you move through the entire process. It's hey, you're overwhelmed. We just walked through the top 10 concerns of an empty nester or a downsizer. You're already overwhelmed. The last thing you need is to have more questions.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what to do with your stuff. You don't want to upset your children. You don't know if you're going to have enough money when you move. You're afraid to throw away old memories. You're afraid to leave the neighborhood and move into a different one or a care facility or across the country. And what we did is we said, okay, help us. All
of those 4 that you just mentioned are some of the biggest hurdles that we ever go through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, afraid, are we going to have enough money? Afraid of, man, I don't want to upset all the children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, what am I going to do with all my stuff, all my memories?
Mm-hmm.
And we're experiencing them in this move all at one time.
All
at the same time.
All at once. Jesse, I love this. And I want to reiterate something. If you're listening and you're empty nesting, downsizing, by the way, you could be an empty nester and be 50 years old, you know, or right, whatever. But a lot of our empty nester downsizing clients are well over 65.
Yeah.
Most of us will actually downsize twice. There's the downsize and then there's the real downsize.
Right.
Right. Or it's just 2 downsizes, right? But the Legacy Living Blueprint walks you through 6 steps. And this is a teaser. Guys, this is I can't even remember. This is a full guide, many pages. But I'm going to give you the highlight. Number 1 is an initial consultation, and this is where we find out literally what your hopes, dreams, fears are, and we create a personalized plan because it's a personalized plan.
Yeah, it's different for everybody.
Yeah. Step 2 is we work through preparing your home for sale, and this is enhancing the home's appeal with simple updates, staging, minor repairs. This is fascinating. I met with another client last week. I visited with Beth and her adult and her middle-aged daughter. And when we went through the home, she's not lived in the home that I know of for at least 5 years, and it smelled like it. You know when you just don't go in a home is spotless, but it just smells like no one's living in it because there's not a lot of air circulating. It needs water. And we went through and put water down all the drains. Beth was sharp. Well, here sits this home that she and her husband lived in, and he's passed on. And she's just held it thinking, who knows what? And a lot of her feeling is that she was going to come back and that her kids would use it. Well, the kids are like, Mom, we're not using it.
Yeah.
Get the money out of it. It's worth $500,000 cash, right? Well, we went through the whole thing and we walked through the entire property and we started on the preparing the home for sale plan. And then about a week later, we were supposed to have meeting number 2. That was the initial consultation. We were supposed to have our second get together and sit down and really walk through how to navigate the process. And her daughter sent me a text. Mom's just not ready. She can't do it yet.
Yeah.
This is hard for people, you know? And I said, that's okay. And you know what my suggestion was? I said, what I think we should do is we should sit down and just talk for as long as it takes, not to come to a conclusion, but let's just chat.
Yeah.
Right. Because
for her to be comfortable with whatever she decides.
Right. Because here's the problem. What's happening to a home that sits empty?
It's just going downhill.
Yeah, like, it really is. It kind of loses value even in an appreciating market. And right now we know the market's actually not appreciating.
Yeah, because so many different things are just not being tended to.
Mm-hmm. Step 3, decluttering and downsizing support. This is where we work with you to sort through belongings, donations, handling estate sales. Step 4, the actual listing and marketing of the property, you'll find that it's only one of 6 steps. The actual part you think that you'd hire us for is one of the 6 steps.
Yeah.
That's showcasing the home with professional photos and a tailored marketing strategy. Step 5, supporting your next move. This is all happening simultaneously. This is assisting in finding the next new home or assisted living facility, coordinating relocation. And number 6 is celebrating the new beginning. And it's pretty fun when you get to go hang out with the people and it's all wrapped up.
Right.
I made 2 phone calls last week, got voicemail. Got to call these dang people. One of them is the sweetest lady, Diane. We moved her from Sun River and she moved to assisted care. The other is Diana and George. George passed away in the middle of our listing process. We were working with them on an iconic home in Entrada.
Yeah.
2006-7 parade of homes, multiple millions of dollars, $4+ million sale, $4.3 million was our closing price. Imagine her navigation. So here's what happened. Her downsize wasn't a downsize. They actually just moved from St. George back to Wyoming.
Right.
On a big ranch of 70 acres. So it wasn't really less. It's that they couldn't have both. George had significant health concerns and risks. He was in his 90s and he did pass away. And that was hard, right? And it was odd for everyone and hard for Diana. And then we helped them close the chapter. And so, and I just called she and Diane last week to say, hey, it's Thanksgiving, thinking about you guys. Can't give you a pie because, well, Diane, we're trying to give her a pie. She's here.
Yeah.
Here's my point, Jesse. Downsizers, they might be selling a $4.3 million. They might be selling what?
Yeah. $200,000.
$200K.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
You never know.
Isn't that fascinating? So,
because it's not always just about downsizing. It's a change in life.
Yeah, it's a change in life.
Right. I can no longer take care of what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Guys, this is very different than upsizing. The conversation with move-up buyers, these are families typically with kids at home. The move-up buyer conversation is navigating life and jobs and kids in schools and finding the next home. It's always about, like, I want you to think about taking a rag and trying to wring out every drop of water. It's always about wringing every dollar out of the sale because we have a tendency as humans to want a home that's at least 10% more than we can afford and need. Yeah. Downsizing is a different conversation. And one of the reasons that I found that I love to work with these beautiful humans at this stage of life, there is a wisdom. There's the pace. Everything about the pace is not frenetic. It's non-frenetic, right? Upsizing families, move-up buyers, or it's frenetic. It's like, okay, well, Janie's at this and this is happening on and the kids have soccer and so-and-so's at exec council and someone's got to be here. And that's my timer. I've got 2 minutes, guys. And you know what I mean? Like, it's a different conversation than downsizing.
Yeah.
And there's a wisdom. Guys, if you'd like a copy of the Legacy Living Blueprint, you can visit us at gostgeorge.com or Google the Larkin Group, and we're going to give you a free copy of that. And you don't need to work with us. But what I want you to know is there is a beautiful life after where you are right now. And it's a life, Jesse, free of a lot of the nonsense that's causing you to think about moving right now. Right? Like, and I'm telling you, like, some of our clients have moved out of like full HOAs. They don't touch their landscape, tiny home. But even still, like this gal, Ann, she had a basement. Do you think she'd been in the basement in 10 years? She couldn't go down there.
Very rarely. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just, and my parents deal with this. My parents are in their 80s. Yeah.
And they have a pretty good sized house.
And they built a home that was designed, by the way, ADA accessible, that they would never have to go upstairs if they didn't want to. And in her final 50 seconds, certainly my mom doesn't go up those stairs.
Yeah.
She's got some challenges with her back and her feet. And my dad, he's just such a warrior. He goes up and downs and carries the boxes of Christmas totes. But that's not going to last forever. And they had to design. So you may not downsize. You may, right? But again, guys, visit us at gostgeorge.com, GOSTGeorge.com, or Google the Larkin Group. Say hey, and we'll probably have a link that's pretty visible on our site. I want a copy of the Legacy Living Blueprint, or you can just download it right there. In our final show of 2024, guys, I think you're going to like this topic. This is the Home Sellers Year-End Playbook. It's about understanding what you need to be prepared for in 2025, forecasts, and all of that jazz, guys. Jeremy Larkin, Jesse Poll, Larkin Group, KW Realty.
Thanks for having us.
Brother. Bye-bye.
Over and out.